What's up, guys? It's Isaac with the KC Brick Store here, and just wanted to do a quick video talking about whether the Hulk should have a place in your LEGO Fantasy Army. Under normal circumstances, I would say no, though I have seen people try to do it, just to take this Hulk figure and turn him into a giant orc or something. I don't think that works super well because, he's the Hulk, and I think he just is too hulky. But one of the fantastic new features about these Lego Big Figs they're starting to make is that you can take the head off here, and that leaves a lot of other possibilities. So the best of which that I've seen, and you guys may have seen this other places as well, I just hadn't seen a video about it. And when I posted about it on Facebook, I'd gotten some questions. So if you take that Cyclops figure I just had and you take the head off, it comes in two pieces. There's a normal head underneath of this kind of molded head piece. You put them together and just like that. So one of my first thoughts is the head too small? And you know what? I think it's a little bit undersized for the size of creature we've got here. That said, I don't really expect Cyclopses or giant Cyclopses like this to be super intelligent anyway. So I think it's really okay, and I think it fits pretty well from most viewing angles there. So I don't think that's an issue. I did have some questions about whether or not this fit tightly, and I would say there's no issue there. The parts are super compatible. There's no rubbing or running up against anything. It fits very well there. So the problem then is that you're left with a headless Cyclops. What do you do with that? And I will say the good news about that is that they are the same color as those new CMF orcs are. So just in terms of adding some variety to your orc army, you can use the bodies in that way. I was trying to show you something, but I'm fumbling in the background here. Here we go. Yeah, so we've got a same color situation there. And I think the legs honestly look fine on this new CMF orc. So you can switch them to be like that, goodness sakes. Switch them to be like that. And I think that works okay. Also the arms, if you take the arms off of the CMF orc and put them on the Cyclops body, they look pretty good there. And you can also just put an orc head on top of there and have some more variety of orc figures there. So there you go. A second piece though, something that I had seen some people do, is to try to turn the Hulk into a giant orc figure though. And so I really was interested in that. I gave that a few tries. I'm gonna give you a try here just to show how that works though. My experience with it was not very positive. So you can put the jaw down here and that looks like a solid start. But the people that I saw took this helmet from the Ultron sets. That's really hard to show you, sorry about that. I'm gonna put it on the head here. So we've got it on there on the orc head. And then if we go ahead and slide it on, we can't slide it all the way down because it's just gonna, well, it's gonna run into too many things. It's gonna stretch out the ears on that plastic jaw piece. Also, it's gonna run into the teeth. So you can do this. It looks okay. You're not pushing the head all the way down. So maybe a weird gap back there. Frankly, or personally, I guess, I think this is not ideal because you're not assembling it all the way. Also, it's leaving a much bigger, I think the head size to body ratio is a bigger problem with this. I think the Cyclops head is big enough and fits well enough that it can work out. But I think with this the way it is, it just is not the way you want it to be. Now, granted, maybe you feel differently. If that's fine, if that's the case, that's fine. Do what you want to do there. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the Cyclops head back on and go ahead and move on from there. I was lucky enough to get two of these guys. So that started me thinking about, well, if you had multiple, how would you make them look different? And so that's where I got this kind of cloak or robe I gave this other guy from. Now, honestly, this is just a friend's shipwreck sail piece. Oh, goodness. But super easy. It's tacked underneath of his head on his neck piece. And then again, they've got these fancy little studs on the back. So just tucked back there and wrapped around him. I think it works really well. I think it came out, yeah, super well. So very pleased with that. Also for this other guy, I was thinking about kind of a standard bearer, because I've seen a lot of people do things like this. So realistically, if you just put a 1x2 plate and a 1x2 tile or vent, as I'm using, on his back there, you can use that to connect kind of a frightening standard to his back or something. So I think that works out okay. Can't really see the whole thing in the frame there, but I think that works out okay. And I think you can do some decent variety with these guys. So it kind of comes to, is it worth it to do this? And I would say, I think so. You know, they're kind of, this Hulk only comes at this time in the Avengers Tower. Now, they do make another one with the removable head, but it's got like Avengers logos on the legs and stuff, so you definitely have to cover those over. Those ones might be cheaper, so I'm going to say that the Hulks are probably going to run you about $30 at this point. That's going to be the biggest part of your cost. The little Cyclops guys, those are not super expensive, surprisingly to me. I think they're like $5 or $6 maybe. So between $30 and $40, you could make one of these guys, and that's just going to depend on you, your preference, your budget, etc. But as far as figures, I think they work well. They go together well. I don't think there's a lot of issues with combining the Cyclops and the Hulk. You can use some bigger pieces, so like this Ninjago sword that I think looks nice, but it's way too big for a minifigure. I feel like fits well with this guy. And that big club, I think, fits really well with this guy too. Now, I have seen some folks try to use some capes and chains to make other clothing for these guys. I think that's doable. I messed around with it a little bit and I didn't have much luck, so I think there'd be a lot of trial and error there. But do I think it's worth it? I would say yeah. I do think you can reuse your parts for the Cyclops figures for your other Orc figures. This unfortunately doesn't work super well, so you're going to be left over with some other giant Hulk heads. But is it worth it? Do they fit? Do they work well? I would say yeah. And I guess it just depends what you want to do, but hope this is helpful. Hope this shows you a little bit more about these guys and gives you an idea about whether or not you want to use them. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.